And here's what you're going to hear over and over again. There's no way for the U.S. government to tax wealth. That never, ever, ever happens. And how do you know that's true? Well, CBS has hired an expert on this to tell us that. His name is Mick Mulvaney. You may remember this name.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He was one of the lead members of the Tea Partiers and the Freedom Caucus in Congress, one of the most bat crap conservative people in Congress until he became the chief of staff for Donald Trump. The man is, let me put it this way. When it comes to taxation or regulation or a whole host of things, you cannot get a more ideologically biased person than this. He was also OMB director underneath Donald Trump. You cannot get a more ideological spokesperson against taxation than Mick Mulvaney. See if you can divine that from this CBS News.
And I should say there's a thread by Matt Negrin of I think MSNBC, yeah. And he's going through how CBS has basically only had Republicans on their Sunday shows on Meet the Press, and how they've been hiring a bunch of Trump officials and just calling them contributors, stacking the deck. So there's something going on here with the way CBS is trying to frame these
CBS would be Face the Nation, but yeah.
Yeah, and also be clear here. We can talk about Fox News.
Oh, did I say
cable
Meet the
news?
Press? Face the Nation, sorry.
We can talk about cable news all we want. CBS still goes to millions of people. When you watch CBS News, the last thing you're thinking is this is ideological. See if you see one clue as to who this guy is other than just generic OMB, Office of Budget Management head.
Biden has announced a $5.8 trillion budget proposal for the 2023 fiscal year, which includes a wealth tax for the richest people in the country. Households with assets of more than $100 million would face a minimum tax of 20%. So here to discuss is Mick Mulvaney. He's a former Office of Management and Budget Director. And today I am pleased to welcome him as a CBS News contributor. So happy to have you here. Thank you so much. You're the guy to ask about this. So we learned yesterday that
Pause it. First off, I mean, just think about how glib 20% minimum tax on $100 million. You could just stop right there if you're saying this on national news and just go isn't that insane that we don't already have a minimum of 20% tax on people who have assets over $100 million?
Right.
That's insane. That would be you could just go off for a half an hour on that. This is to put Mick Mulvaney up there. The only thing equivalent would be to bring on, someone from Code Pink to talk about the increase in the military budget without mentioning that they were with Code Pink. I mean, it's, I'm just trying to think of something there is no, I don't know that there is a figure, I'm not talking about a Kudlow, this guy of all the people in terms of cutting taxes.
Yeah.
Mick Mulvaney. And he's the guy to talk to assess this massive, massive income disparity, this proposal to address wealth.
And I just want to quickly correct myself. The guy that I cited earlier is joking when he says he's from MSNBC. He's a different reporter, but keep going.
It's a language of wonkery. We got the best wonk in DC to talk about this. He was a former bureaucrat,
right.
Mick Mulvaney.
Right. And completely ignoring the fact that he's actually one of the, first of all, he was a horrible on the wonkery side. Really only. And the idea, you don't even say it's former Trump OMB director. It's just insane. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yep.
And today I am pleased to welcome him as a CBS News contributor. So happy to have you here. Thank you so much. You're the guy to ask about this. So we learned yesterday that some of the plan is, the proposal is to tax some of the richest Americans in this country in a way that they have not been taxed before. Can you sort of explain the proposal for us and how it would work?
Yeah, really simple. Keep in mind that the proposal is just that. There won't be a lot of details to it because this is a budget document. But the rough idea is this, is that somehow the government will identify households that are worth more than $100 million, and that somehow those folks will be taxed so that they pay at least 20% tax. It's unclear if that's tax on income or wealth. It really is a very different way of measuring wealth in this country, Emery. We've never taxed wealth before. We've taxed income. In fact,
pause it. You know, this somehow is so mysterious. How are we going to do this? And he's going on to say that we've never taxed wealth before. We've never taxed property. What he doesn't mention is we have also something called property taxes. And what do property taxes do? They tax wealth in the form of the wealth that is associated with your house. How much is your house worth? But how could we possibly measure when this grows? How can we possibly measure it if it's not being sold? They do it every year. There's someone called the tax assessor who comes in and assesses the value of your house for taxation purposes. It happens every single year.
Yeah, what universe is Mick Mulvaney living in? Maybe it's Florida there. I see that's where he's zooming in from, where your taxes are going up.
They have property taxes
exponentially. No, but I know, but like maybe it's a little bit lower in terms of like a lot of people with big houses right now, or wealthier people, their property taxes have been going up every year, basically, especially I guess in blue states after the
I imagine there's property taxes in Florida have gone up too on some. There's no income tax down there.
Yeah,
but we do this all the time.
Yeah, and if there's a reason we haven't got around to taxing wealth like this before, it's because wealthy people have controlled the electoral system with the entirety of the nation's history.
Wealthy people like Mick Mulvaney.
How do you assess the value of a stock? Well, it's quite easy actually, because there's a number associated with that. So when we say the stocks went up, it's because the numbers associated with that stock went up.
That's too convoluted. You shouldn't even try.
So it's not like somehow, this is not like magical. We just make a decision. And the way that we're going to do it is you're going to have to declare what's the value of your stocks on December 31st. If you have a 401k, it's over a certain amount. I think with the IRA, you've got to declare that with the U.S. government. It's just a form. You have a form you file. This is not rocket science. We can figure it out.
And the distinction, just really quickly, between we've never taxed wealth before in this country. We've never essentially punished people for being wealthy. He's not going to say that right now because he's trying to launder himself as like a neutral expert. But it's so silly, because the reason that we're in a position that we have to tax wealth in this country is because we have slashed all other methods of taxation so aggressively to the point that now it is a complete fundamental need, and we're in late stage capitalism, and that's what needs to happen now. But like, to talk about it as unprecedented, no, it's a way to claw back from the position of extreme wealth inequality that we've gotten to from slashing income tax rates and other taxes as well.
And before someone sends me a IM about capital flight, I think Bernie Sanders had a good suggestion to deal with capital flight. There's an exit fee. If you want to leave the United States on good terms, obviously you can flee the United States. You can put all your money in a Swiss bank or, the Cayman Islands or whatever it is, and you can flee the United States. But if you want to leave on good terms, you want to come back, you want to visit your companies, you want to visit your kids, you want to visit your relatives, you want to visit, your ski chalet in Vail or wherever it is, you got to pay an exit fee.
Oh. It'd be so awesome.
All right, go back a little bit. Let's listen to him. Mick Mulvaney now being completely laundered as some type of just voice of technocracy.
He's the Bill Nye of accounting.
He's the Bill Nye of accounting. And here he is. He's just going to, I don't know how we're going to do it. Is it going to be like magic? Somehow we're going to do this. Whoa, it's like alchemy.
the government will identify households that are worth more than $100 million, and that somehow those folks will be taxed so that they pay at least 20% tax. It's unclear if that's tax on income or wealth. It really is a very different way of measuring wealth in this country, Emery. We've never taxed wealth before. We've taxed income. In fact, the Constitution might not even allow a property tax. It does specifically allow an income tax, but that's the basic framework. We'll find out how much money you've got on things like unrealized stock gains, businesses that you might own. And even though you didn't make money off of that last year, we're still going to tax you on it. That's the basis of the proposal.
Even though you didn't make money on it. No, you made money on it. This is the lie, that you haven't made money unless you realize those gains, so-called realize those gains. But again, having that money in that form allows you to get other money for free. And so this is the way wealthy people live. They take the existing money they have, they leverage that to get zero cost loans. They invest those zero cost loans in assets that will increase in value. They use that to also pay for things. And as far as the government is concerned, they don't even have any income. They don't have any income. We need to tax away, in my mind, 20% is, like I say, it's a start. Let's get the door open so that we can show that we can do this. And then let's work our way up to about, 80, 90%.
Man, it's so insidious the way he says, it might not even be allowed by the Constitution. We'll have to wait for what the Constitution says, as if the Constitution is going to start talking to us.
Well, it really is just a question of Clarence Thomas.
Exactly. It's the Supreme Court.
Exactly. And the Supreme Court, who knows what the Supreme Court's going to do? The Supreme Court, I would imagine, would strike this down because they don't want it to exist.
Yes, that's why they're there.
That's why they're there. That's why they're there.
Listen to the Constitution, like put a stethoscope up.
Right. I mean,
two cups and a string. We can talk to the founding fathers from beyond the grave. If they would have any concept of like the amount of the breadth of our passive income streams here in this country for the wealthiest people.
Yeah, but they would probably side with the Republicans.
Fine, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But like it's a silly premise on its face.
I mean, who knows whether this would ever even pass the Senate, frankly, but it's possible. You only need 50 votes. This would be done under reconciliation, but of course, Joe Manchin